So I'm Montel from Triple M Enterprise, delighted to be joined by Shannon Ryan. First of all, thank you so much for allowing me to come down here.
Thanks for being here.
All the time, I know that you're in camp as well, so I'm gonna try and make sure this is structured around your fight coming up, but also getting to know you piece. And with that being said, I want to take it back to when you mentioned before in different interviews, you being 5 years old and throwing your first punch and kick. Was that what made you really think this is what I want to do next?
Yeah, I think when I was 5, obviously I remember some parts of course, but not everything. And I've always said it was my dad that got me into combat sports. And when I was 19 and I was on the GB Taekwondo team, and that sadly didn't work out for me, my body and my mind doesn't know anything else. So I was like, right, I need to go back into another sport, but the next one, I'm going to give it my all. So that's when I tried MMA with Michael Page for one session at London Shoot Fighters, and that was not for me. So I thought, the next one, it's the one, and that was boxing, and here we are now.
No, of course, and you've made a great transition into the sport. Tell me a bit about the transition, like what was that like for you mentally, not just the physical side, but the mental side of adjusting to new rules and new settings?
Yeah, so when I look at everything now, it seems like it was just taken like this, but when I look back at videos, I see the progress, and it is literally phenomenal progress, and I'm unbelievably proud of myself, because I started boxing in 2018 as an amateur, and we're now 2025, and the improvements that I've made have been like second to none. But in the moment, it felt kind of, I don't want to say the word easy, but it felt like, okay, I can do it, keep doing it every day and you'll get there. But the mental side of it was completely different. I come from a sport of you tap, you stop, you tap, you stop. So I've had to learn to combination punches, punch to knock them out, punch to hurt. And I understand we're in the hurt business, but I was never in the hurt business before. That's deep rooted in me. I know I have that in there. So yeah, I just think the transition has been great, and I think learning a whole new sport has helped me, not just as an athlete, but as a woman, an individual, and just for life itself, just knowing that it's a new challenge, and if I can do this, I feel like I can do anything.
No, it makes perfect sense. As you mentioned around it being a new challenge, and I know something you enjoy doing is journaling, so was this something that you had wrote down before and you thought, I'm going to manifest this as a boxer?
No, do you know, I think everything now I wrote down. Okay. So when I went into boxing, I didn't write that down. It was when I did start boxing and I was like, I need to make some changes, needed help with sponsorship and being with Matchroom and Sky Sports. So funnily enough, when Eddie Hearn was with Sky Sports, I did write down, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm with Eddie Hearn, who's with Sky Sports. But the funny part of that was they then left. Obviously I wasn't with them at the time, but I managed to get signed to Sky Sports, but that was Ben Shalom at the time. Yeah. And then now, fast forward, signed with Eddie Hearn. So when I do look back at that book, it does make me quite emotional, because everything now I wrote down, and it's not just about writing it down, it's about believing in it, writing it down, feeling it, but also doing the work.
Perfect, and I want to delve a little bit deeper into that. So what made you start writing stuff down to manifest it? Well, where did that come from?
I think, to be fair, it was a conversation I had with one of my friends who we didn't actually meet. It was during lockdown and we didn't actually meet. I think we had a few FaceTimes and then we become friends. And I think we both got each other into it, and we watched The Secret, the film on Netflix. Okay, yeah. And we just went from there, to be honest, and we really bounced off each other. And then when things just started happening in my life, I was like, this is working. And when you say it to people, some people don't understand. Some people do, some people don't, and that's totally fine. But I believe that I am a product of everything that I've just spoken about because of what is in my life. And if I was to show you the book, I think everyone would be like, wow.
You made that happen. Yeah, no, that's really cool, to be fair.
But of course it is the hard work as well.
No, of course, there's a lot of hard work that goes into it, and something you also mentioned before is around inspiring generations. So what are some of the work that you're doing behind the scenes, if you don't mind sharing, about how you are connecting with that?
Yeah, so to be fair, like at the moment, not so much. I want to do more, like community stuff, and just like build that community, which I'm not quite there yet. I think for me, it's always been about getting the boxing to the right standard for myself. Obviously, I took that loss last year, set me back a little bit in terms of the fights, changed teams, changed coach, and I just had to really knuckle down and get my boxing at a level of where I'm happy, and then I can start thinking about other things. And I think just for me at the moment, if I was to say I want to inspire people, it is, what am I putting out on socials? How am I speaking? How am I presenting myself? And that is by being me and being authentic and kind of not being someone else. It's just being me and showing everyone that you can do this, you can do this, and you can do this. And as long as you're focused, it will all come together. So I think that's where I'm at the moment with inspiring people. But in the future, I'd love to do more for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned about inspiring and actually the package deal, so like the social media side of things. What is it like actually being an athlete, being Shannon Ryan the athlete, and also on social media? What is that like?
Yeah, I think now it's okay, as in, because I loved social media before I even started boxing. It's just, if you're talking to the camera without a niche, I always found it hard.
Yeah.
Whereas now that I've got a niche, I've got a following, it's, don't get me wrong, it's still hard, but it is a bit easier to kind of let everyone know what you're doing, whether they care or not, and to just put things out there. But I enjoy it. It was hard to begin with when I come from another sport and I've just entered this world, and for me it was a lot of maybe imposter syndrome of, this is a new world, I don't belong here, people don't know who I am, and I've just jumped on the scene and I'm now here, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I did find it hard to begin with, to kind of, little things, if I was out for a meal with my friends, it's, are these people taking me seriously? Whereas I know how hard I work, and I work tremendously hard, and I think it's only really now that I show, not everything, but I love to share what I'm doing, and but I know I put the work in, so whatever I put out, I know I'm also backing that up with the work that I'm doing.
No, 110%. And getting into the work that you are doing, so what is it like? Obviously you're in camp now, what has it been like, the difference between, I would say, camp 1, if you remember, to like camp now? Yeah.
Do you know what's funny is, I think naturally as athletes we say, that was my best camp, that was my best camp, this is my best shape. But of course, as the camps go on, you build from that camp, you build, and it adds on. So at the moment, this is my best camp in my best shape. But from the difference is just the knowledge that I've got on myself and the sport itself, knowing how far can I push my body, how far can I push my mind. The rest and recovery now is, for me, way more important than it was. Well, it was important then for sure, but I mean, the level of fighters, the calibre, and just the work, like I'm pushing my body, beating PBs all the time, and it really wows you, because you think you can't push yourself anymore, and you do, and that, to me, that's what I love as well, is the challenge and the pushing yourself. But I think I've come on leaps and bounds since camp 1, which I think goes for everyone. But yeah, if I look back, I was a newbie, whereas now it's like, this is what I want to do, this is how I want it done, X, Y, Z, and then we get it done.
And being an athlete and being competitive, is this something you take into everyday life as well, or is this something that you apply mainly to boxing?
Yeah, no, everyday life. Yeah. I think for me, like, I have an outlook on life, my personal childhood to now, and I just love freedom. And for me, boxing gives me my freedom. But I'm just that person of, if you don't ask, you don't get. If you don't work hard, if you're not a good person, and I just think that falls into anything that you do. So yeah, I feel like I am such a driven person in boxing, but in life as well, because I want so much for my life and my future family. And that starts with me in boxing and outside of boxing.
100%. And you've mentioned again the boxing game, and this is exactly what you're into, the fight game. Now, something that I've always been curious about is when boxers go for, or just athletes in general, go for like sponsorship and brand deals. What's that process like, and how do you select who you want to work with as much as they want to work with you? Yeah,
so I think a lot of that is done by management, and obviously that's 258 management. But one that I am proud of is O2. So I used to work there. I was there for 5 years and worked my way up, Christmas temp, sales advisor, assistant manager, and then a manager on secondment whilst my manager was away. And I think that was a process within itself, juggling that and being an amateur, not eating properly because you're having to shut the shop, go straight to the gym, then being told off because you're late, so there was no balance. But again, I knew when I was working there, I knew what I'm capable of, and I just knew that I needed more for me and to elevate to the next level. And when I turned pro and I was also still working, it was way too hard. And I just, with my own self, I just thought, what can I do to get some help? And someone that I used to work with, who was a really close friend of mine, he actually went to head office, and then I asked him, I said, oh, please, can you get me the head of sponsorships email? And he managed to get it for me, and I sent an email, and I think it was like quite lengthy, a bit attitudey, and but again, from young, if you don't ask, you don't get. And they hit me back, we jumped on a Zoom call, it went back and forth for a few months, and here we are. I'm the first individual athlete to be sponsored by O2, and for me that's magical, sentimental. It's an iconic brand itself, and I boxed at the O2, but to be partnered with them for me is like a surreal moment. And the fact that I'm now not able to, I don't have to work, and I can box full time, and the improvements that I've made in such a short amount of time, I have to give my thanks to them as well, because without them I wouldn't be where I am today.
And it's like a 360 moment, to be fair, from going to work there to now actually working with
I wrote it down as well.
Amazing. So talking about the fight game now, so obviously like you mentioned, you've got that one loss on the record, but then you've bounced back since then. What was the shift for you that said, you know what, this is how I need to make the improvements? How was that for you in terms of going from the loss to now where you're on a streak of winning now?
Yeah, I think the loss taught me so much, and for me, I am very grateful for that loss. It taught me so much, again, as an individual and as an athlete, and a lot about, I always put myself last. My feelings are last, and I had to quickly learn that if I keep doing that, everything could go left. And I had to really sit with myself and make some really hard decisions. But again, I'm proud of that, because I feel like I've grown as a person as well, made hard decisions, and here I am on a winning streak, about to go into another big fight, and I just believe that 2026 really will be my year.
No, that is very powerful. And like we said about the winning streak, you obviously got your first stoppage. How did that feel? Have you reflected on it and looked back and said, this is what I'm capable of?
Yeah, it was great. And do you know why though? It's not about, it's more because of the journey that I've been on and the sports that I've come from before. I've always got it in me, but it's, have you until you do it.
Yeah.
So I always thought I did. And I know I haven't had a stoppage since, but again, it's all, I don't want to keep saying it, but I started boxing in 2018. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like I started many years ago and we're here. You know, I only started then and got my first knockout, and I do believe there'll be more to come, but I've had to work on a lot of things in boxing to even be able to get that stoppage and to perform the way that I am.
No, 100%. And obviously you're in camp now, so what are some of the adjustments that you make mindset-wise, the shift from going out of camp to in-camp training?
I train all year round, a holiday here and there, but I think it's important to stay in the gym and to keep your body on that baseline. Yeah. Fitness level, like camp ready type vibe, but it's not taking your eye off the ball. It's, if you are on a holiday, it's you're training and you're thinking about what's next. Like, my mind doesn't stop, so when I do have a day off or something, my mind is ticking, and it is, what do I want to achieve, what do I want to do? And I think it's knowing the end goal and knowing that how brutal the sport can be. It really is snakes and ladders, and you know, I did take that loss, and although I'm grateful for that loss, I don't want to lose again. And knowing that and feeling that and going through that loss, I don't want that to happen. So it's just keeping mentally strong, like 365 days of the year.
Yeah, and women's boxing has transcended, has become absolutely amazing as a spectacle, literally all year round. And how do you feel like, people do see you sort of an advocate for women's boxing? How do you feel being someone that is an advocate for women's boxing?
I don't view myself like that. I also don't think people view me like that.
Really?
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me.
Yeah.
But it is great because, again, in my own opinion, I feel like I do everything right in the gym, outside the gym, on socials, off socials. And I think if I meet people, if I speak to people, I'm just Shannon Ryan and I give a good impression of myself, and that's who I am. So that's all I want to do, is just keep demonstrating the right things and show the right things.
Yeah, and how would you say, so for someone else that's coming up now that might look towards you, because there's definitely definitely are fans for everyone. How would you say you would look to inspire them? You already mentioned inspiring before, but like as a getting into a combat sport, what is that like?
As in, how do I want to inspire
someone else that wants to get into the combat sports from a woman's perspective?
Yeah, I would say you've got to really be strong-minded and kind of understand the sport and the business side. Knowing that the men and women are different. Yes, it's boxing, but it is very different. And do I think that would change? Maybe in years to come, but right now, no. And I think it's accepting that and still doing your absolute best to perform well, train well, and just be an elite level athlete. And even when it feels like there's doors that are being shut, it's continue knocking them down, and it's don't then not be consistent. Keep being consistent and keep striving for more, and the doors will open and you'll push on from there.
Great advice. And something that you mentioned that you write down and you manifest things, so if you don't mind sharing some of the goals for 2026 about how that's going to be your year, what do you if you don't mind sharing?
Do you know what, I haven't written it, I haven't got anything down, but what would it be? I definitely not looking past this next fight, of course, but what I would like in 2026, I would love to fight for a world title. I do believe I am ready for that, but again, not looking past October 17th. Yeah, and just kind of continue to build, continue to have a voice, and just kind of be seen a lot more, be active, be seen a lot more, and just continue to build my brand, build that fan base, and just get myself out there, really.
Yeah, and touching on obviously October 17th is right in the corner. How does your training and your mindset shift as you get closer towards a fight night? What is that like for you, that experience as an athlete?
Your mind goes, it's real. Yeah, you just kind of, you're mentally focused regardless of whether there's a date, an opponent. When the opponent gets announced, the focus heightens. When it gets closer, again, it heightens even more, and it's just hitting them 1% and just knowing that you've left no stone unturned, and it is just, that is my focus. October 17th that's all I can see. I cannot see through my peripherals, just October 17th, and I think that's how you've got to be, because again, the sport is snakes and ladders. You're here, or you can be here, you're back here, you're down here. So yeah, as the time goes on, your focus is just October 17th, and you think about nothing else.
Is there something key, advice-wise, that stuck with you throughout your whole career at all that you think, do you know what, this is something I always reflect on and remember?
I think it is just that part of being consistent. And I think that is, again, evident in my own self. So that's why I'm a great believer in being consistent, because of what I've had to do to be where I am. Yeah,
no, straight to the point, that makes perfect sense. And lastly, just on that fight on October 17th, like what I have to ask, are we in store for to see from you?
A sharp, explosive, dominant performance. I'm really excited. But these are the types of fights that I want to be in, and these are the fights that the public want to see. You know, obviously I boxed Emma Dolan and then had 2 kind of fights after that. But this is the one as well people are talking about, and that's what you want. I want my name out there. I want people to have an opinion. Is she gonna? And that makes me focused and ready. And yeah, I just think it's going to be electric from start to finish.
And I cannot wait to be there. I'm going to try my best to be there live and interview then as well. But best of luck for that fight, and really appreciate your time again.
Thank you so much.